Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. The holy circle of light, the light of divinity, divine being, shining as it is, perfect, whole, complete. Peace of mind. Got a beautiful little thunderstorm here. Celebration of divinity within us. We can check in with the light, and the light of infinite being. Is that thunderstorm apart from us or within us? God is in everything I see, because God is in my mind. What a beautiful lesson. Once again, we look at lesson 188, a new lesson for today, to see it new with the eyes of God, see these thoughts of God arising within us. The peace of God is shining in me now. That beacon of infinite light. In our direct experience as infinite beings, is the peace of God already here in honesty of God? Can the light be recognized at any time, regardless of circumstance in the world? Is that peace shining always? Now we ask Jesus to show us the light but. Jesus, will you reveal so gently, so lovingly, as he does, the desire for this light not to shine, to say no to it, to suppress it, actually suppress it out of awareness. Your thoughts and feelings and emotions as though there's no control over those. Yet that's a desire to lose control over perception so that it appears that something's actually happening. So show me where I think something's actually happening outside myself. In the light of divine being, is it possible for peace not to shine? Infinite light? Can we find a place within the infinite light, infinite being, where it's not just shining in honesty of God? Here's a good first question. Why wait for heaven? That's a good question. That's what Muji says. Why not now? That's really when the questions to Jesus start. Why not now? What part of personal identity is more valuable to me than heaven right here, right now? Jesus, will you show me? What little piece of hell is more valuable than this infinite light shining always? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. Jesus, is there any seeking of the light? Can that be found? The seeking for what I already am. It can be helpful momentarily because it turns the mind within. And now, Jesus, this is lesson 188. Seeking. Is there any seeking, the energetic of seeking? or covering their eyes, any desire to cover the eyes and not see myself as wholly whole and complete. The light is in them now. Is the light here now? Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Is seeing the infinite light is here, does that change anything? Is this light seeking to change anything? Does it seek something, infinite light? Light is not of the world, yet you who bear the light and you are alien here as well. We alien in the world, in the light of divine being. Yet is this a challenge for divine being? Does it divine being go, oh, that's horrible? Divine being sees no challenges. Does the divine being, infinite light, see a challenge? Can it find one? Does it go looking, I'm going to find a problem today? Just is. The light came from you, from your native home. Does the light come from our native home in honesty of God? Does it come perfect happiness all? Does it carry any kind of sadness in the package of infinite light? And stayed with you because it is your own in the light of divinity, in the light of honoring God. Our light, what's here? Is the light with us always? Has it always been here? Does it tiptoe somewhere, hide in a closet where we can't find it? It must be then, if it's not seen, it must be suppressed and hidden out of awareness by some desire for it not to be seen immediately and shining always. It is the only thing you bring with you from him who is your source. Is the light the only thing we bring from him who is the source, our source, the source? Is light the only thing? It's the only thing. Is it the only thing that's true? It shines in you because it lights your home. Muji would say that to me. Somehow he knew every time I'd get near him, he'd whisper in my heart, you are home. Exactly what was needed to hear. You are home. Until we see we are home. We can't leave home. Can we leave the light? Can we like get away, escape it, run away as far as we want to? Are we home in the light of divine being here? And lead you back to where it came from, and you are at home. This is why following the light is the greatest value, the only value in this world, following infinite light. Because it's what we are, it's all we can be. Light, pure. This light cannot be lost. Let's try and lose it again. As hard as we can to forget it. With everything we have, everything. No, no, say no to it. No, no, no. Before the cock crows 3 times, no, no, no. And yet it's still here. Why wait to find it in the future, believe it has been lost already, or was never there? So there's a belief it has been lost already. Is there any desire for an experience that it can be lost? I'm willing to see that. or a belief it was never there? Is there any desire for an experience that it was never there, quote unquote? It can so easily be looked upon that arguments would prove it is not there. Ridiculous. Let's look for all the arguments that it's not there. Every argument that could be made that light's not there. Yet does it go out saying, I'm going to prove to you that I'm the light? It can only be seen and recognized. Are the arguments ridiculous? If we look honesty of God, the argument that the light is not here, is that absurd, actually? That we can usurp the power of God, is that possible? Can we usurp, take away, change the power of the light, the infinite divine being, when we look honesty of God? How can that happen? Who can deny the presence of what he beholds in him? Can we deny what's in us? All that's given this light? Denial is a symptom of the desire to dream. It's not difficult to look within, for there all vision starts. There is no sight, be it of dreams or from a truer source, that is not but the shadow of the seen through inward vision. There is no sight, be it of dreams or from a truer source, that is not but the shadow of the seen through inward vision. There perception starts and there it ends. Does perception start here? Does it start anywhere else? Can we find another location for perception other than here? Is perception outside of ourselves in divine light? What is the source of perception? In honesty of God, what is the source of it? Is recognition of the light the same as perception in our direct experience? By recognizing, when we recognize light, is that a perception to perceive something or a recognition? See the difference between perception and recognition. And then ask, is perception a desired experience? Yet try as we might, can perception be placed outside of ourselves? Is it outside the light? The peace of God is shining in me now. From your heart extends around the world, and from your heart extends around the world. Is the light shining around the world in our direct experience as light beings? Can anything of this world be found apart from this infinite light? When we look, it pauses to caress each living thing. Does the light caress each living thing and leaves a blessing with it that remains forever and forever? Does the light remain forever and ever, blessing everything in our direct experience as infinite light beings? It removes all thoughts of the ephemeral and the valueless. See the power of the light to remove all thoughts of the ephemeral, the changing, and what cannot be valued. Does it value thought? Does it value emotions? Does it value appearances in this world? Yet it honors at the same time that it's an expression of divine nature. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. It brings renewal to all tired hearts and lights all vision as it passes by. All of its gifts are given everyone, and everyone unites in giving thanks to you who give and you who have received. The shining in your mind reminds the world of what it has forgotten, and the world restores the memory to you as well. The world restores the memory to you as well, as a reflection of pure light within the mind. That no appearances appear without the light. God is in everything I see. From your salvation radiates with gifts beyond all measure, given and returned. To you, the giver of the gift, God himself gives thanks. And in his blessing does the light in you shine brighter, adding to the gifts you have to offer to the world. Is the gift to the world bearing the light of God? It's the only gift to the world there is in our direct experience, just bearing pure light and seeing all things as light. The peace of God can never be contained. Is there a container for the peace, for any of this peace and the light, a container for it? Can it be held in a box or held onto? It just is. Who recognizes it with him himself must give it. It's just natural. Feel the naturalness of the light. We're so used to feeling that the light and making the light unnatural to us out of the idea that it can be suppressed. The desire to suppress it. And we're so associated with giving as an objective experience. I'll give you this object. I'll give you my love. Does love move horizontally? That's the question. Does it move between this body and another body in our direct experience as the light? Can love move that way? Between bodies in any way? The light of divine being. Who recognizes it within himself must give it. That's all it is, a recognition. That we do the little hat dance, Mexican hat dance, all around what's already here, just a play of consciousness to play. Oh, I'm not that. No, I'm not in the middle. No. Can't be that. Let me come up with another reason why it can't be the light, because it's not here. It's not tangible. You do not believe what your eyes cannot see. You have a desire not to recognize what the eyes do not see. And the means for giving it are in his understanding. Giving light is being light. Only this. And thus the salvation of the world. He forgives because he recognizes the truth in him. He's willing to see what's true. Forgiveness is merely seeing that sin is impossible. Is sin impossible in the light of divine being? Has anyone ever sinned? Can a sin be found in this light? Hunt around in there. We're looking for sin in this light. Does the light find sin? The peace of God is shining in you now in all living things and in all living things. In quietness, it is acknowledged universally. For what your inward vision looks upon is your perception of the universe. Does the universe look entirely different from the perspective of infinite light? Infinite, unchanging light. Sit quietly and close your eyes. The light within you is sufficient. It alone has the power to give the gift of sight to you. Exclude the outer world and let your thoughts fly to peace within. They know the way, for honest thoughts, untainted by the dream of worldly things outside yourself, become the holy messengers of God Himself. Leading back unerringly to the source of all that is. Where do source, well, even what, where do thoughts come from? Where do they point to? Where do they go back to? Can a single thought be found which leads the source in honesty of God? All pointing unerringly back to the source. Holy messengers of God. All thoughts become holy messengers of God. These thoughts you think with Him, they recognize their home. Thoughts that recognize their home, the thoughts of God. Thoughts of love and union, infinite nature, what's indivisible. They point surely to their source, where God the Father and Son are one. God's peace is shining on them, but they must remain with you as well, for they were born within your mind. All is born. Is in the light of divine being is all born within the mind, within us, within what is, not us as a collective group of bodies, beyond the body. The celebration of Source. God's peace and shine is shining on them, but they must remain with you as well, for they were born within your mind, as yours was born in God's, as our mind born in God's mind, in the light of divine honesty of God. Reborn of God, in the light of divine being. Born of the truth, not born as the idea, the concept of birth. Born as expression of divinity, ever expressing as light. They lead you back to peace from where they came, but to remind you how you must return. They heed your Father's voice when you refuse to listen. Even when we refuse to listen, the thoughts of God are still listening to the Father. And they urge you gently to accept His word for what you are instead of the fantasies and shadows. They remind you that you are co-creator of all things that live, co-creator of life, co-creator, the big L. Not of life, of things of the world, of the celebration of what is. Yet every moving thing is a reflection of all that God has given, contains the totality of God in it, because it's in us. It is the celebration that we are. It's always pointing back to the source, because the light's first. The light's before all. the Alpha and the Omega. We practice coming nearer to the light in us today. This is a helpful seeing Jesus gives to reduce that near. We're just coming near. We're not really the light. He's not actually saying that. He's just trying to lead stepwise to what we already see here in the circle, that we are the light. But in the beginning, where there's so much, the light's going to get me. Yet we see the benevolence. Is the light benevolent? Is it complex? Does it look for complexity? This is simple. Innocence is simple. We take our wandering thoughts and gently bring them back to where they fall in line with all the thoughts we share gently. I love that Ramana would say that. Ramana Maharshi would say, because people ask, well, my mind, meaning the wrong mind, is so active. And Ramana would say, when a cow keeps leaving the barn, you just keep bringing him back gently into the barn where all the fresh hay is. And you keep bringing him back enough, eventually he's not going to leave the barn because he knows that's where the fresh hay is. The light is where all the fresh hay is. We'll not let them stray. That we have the power not to stray. So if the mind is really active, the wrong mind, then we're giving the power for that. Yet we can gently come back to the barn, infinite light. We let the light within our minds direct them to come home, direct our thoughts, come back to source. Just even watching the thoughts, see that the thoughts can't leave their source in the light. So let's throw a bunch of thoughts out there, as many as we can think of, and see, are they outside the light? Just toss them all out there. Bunches of thoughts, as many thoughts, doubt thoughts, hate thoughts, sad thoughts, and see them. Can they leave the light? And if we follow a sad thought out, we do it all the time. If we're not perfectly happy, just follow that sad thought. I am not, whatever it's going to say. I'm not happy, whatever underneath that. And see whether I am not happy, that thought can leave the source. And can it survive in the light? If we put I am not happy in the light, does the light and I am not happy coexist? We let the light within our minds direct them to come home, to direct the thoughts back to source. We have betrayed them, ordering that they depart from us. Oh, here's a new meaning to ordering thoughts. Ordering thoughts by our command to leave source. So we feel like we've left source. Ordering that they depart from us. So it's by our command. I am sad, trying to toss it out of heaven, toss ourselves out of heaven. But now we call them back. I am sad, come back. And wash them clean of strange desires and distorted wishes. So it's a wish. I am sad is a wish, and we call it back to handshake with the light. And see when the thought goes out, that we have the power to bring it back to see what's true. And that we're not helpless. That's the whole gig. The whole gig of the ego is that we're helpless of all the thoughts that arise. But now we call them back and wash them clean of strange desires and distorted wishes. We restored them to the holiness of their inheritance. Thus are our minds restored with them, and we acknowledge that the peace of God still shines in us and from us to all living things that share our life. We will forgive them all, absolving all the world from what we thought it did to us. For it is we who make the world as we would have it. Now we choose that it be innocent, devoid of sin, and open to salvation. And we lay our saving blessing on it as we say, the peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. The infant of power being that shines in the mind and shines every thought. Amen.